It's your girl, Miss K, no excuse. She be everywhere, and you're watching the She Be Everywhere show. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the She Be Everywhere show on YouTube. And I am here with a very special guest. He is also my brother. And I would love to take this time to welcome him with his new ebook, The 5 Bricks of Generational Wealth. Let's introduce Mr. Tracey.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing well. You?
I'm good.
All right, good.
Thank you for being here today.
Not a problem. Trust me. It's a long time coming.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I am so excited about this book because we started a long time ago
Yes.
with generational wealth. Pandemic.
Yes.
And so what made you get into this even more so now?
Well, speaking about the 5 bricks of generational wealth, yes, generational wealth is very, very important and something that needs to be talked about more within our community. All right. So with anything that we do, any structure that we're building, we need a strong foundation. Right?
Absolutely.
And those strong foundation are going to be the bricks of the building. All right. So with the 5 bricks of generational wealth, it's actually an acronym that stands for B for business, R for real estate, I for investments, C for collectibles, and K for knowledge.
Wow. That's
All right?
powerful.
Yeah, those are the things that we want to pass on to the next generation so they're not just starting from zero.
That
every
part.
time. Yes.
I appreciate that because, it's, like you said, it's definitely needed. I would say I wasn't taught financial literacy in school.
None of us would.
Exactly. So now we're playing catch up on a, a fast level. So, what would you say inspired you to get into financial services?
Just looking at the landscape of the world, what's going on, I've always been curious about investing. But back in 2008, when the market dropped, right? You all remember that time we lost a lot of money within the
Yeah.
market and everything. And it caused me to kind of pause and really take a look at life and what I wanted for my future.
If you could go back, I would say to your younger self, how would you, what would be the one piece of financial advice you would give to your younger self?
Listen when my mama talk to me. All right. Basically about saving.
Yeah.
Right? I've always made money. That's never been a problem. Me and my brother started a recording studio. We always making money right out of high school. But had I known the future was coming, and I could have just put 10%, 20% away, I would have a much better life and be able to provide a much better life for my children right now. So that would probably be the biggest thing, is no matter how much I make, just put some away from day one.
And what financial product would you use to put that money away?
Well, now, given the landscape, and this is part of what I do to help my clients, I want them to understand that where you put your money matters, right? Which financial vehicle you use matters, right? Understand first that the banks are not our friend. Why? Because they offer a very low interest, right? So the question is, where can you put your money to earn the highest interest, right? And pay the least amount of taxes, right? So high yield savings accounts, right? You have some of your money market accounts, yes, but they're in the market, so you could lose money when the market drops, right? But then you have what's called tax advantage products, right? So you have your Roth IRA, your health savings account, as well as life insurance, right? Which is unused tool within the financial portfolios, right? But using life insurance to really grow your wealth and also leave that legacy.
I think you need to say that again for the people in the back because people don't understand about life insurance for that. We look at life insurance like, oh, you just want to take my money when I die. No, we can live on that, and they need to understand that.
So with that, the life insurance part of that, one, yes, you're right. A lot of people feel that, life insurance is just to leave money for somebody else when you're no longer here, right? And then what we run into with that mindset, that concept, I don't even like that person. I ain't leaving nothing. A little bad kids, you know what I mean? They ain't do nothing for me, stress me out, so I don't want to leave them anything. But it's called life insurance for a reason, right? Life insurance should be able to take care of your life while you're living instead of just leaving money for somebody else when you're no longer here.
Yep.
So many people don't understand or don't know that with a permanent plan, you have either a whole life or an index universal life, a whole life with dividends or an index universal life with cash value, that the money that you put into the policy actually earns interest,
Yep.
right? So that way you can pull money out of it at a later time,
Yep.
right? Completely tax-free. But here's the hidden gem, right? Since COVID, they added a component to it called living benefits. It was there before, but you had to pay for it. Now it comes with the life insurance policy. So with living benefits, what that does is that allows you to pull money out of the death benefit, right, to help take care of those medical issues that's not covered by your traditional insurance.
Right.
Things like Alzheimer's, dementia, Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS, kidney failures, home health aid, nursing home. All right, so God forbid something happens to you and you have a major medical emergency. Are you going to deplete your personal savings to take care of that? Or are we going to pull from the money from your life insurance to take care of that and you still have your savings?
Oh my goodness, I wish more people understood this and know how important it is and took advantage of this, because that way we won't have to use GoFundMe,
Yes.
because that is a big generational.
Yeah, we need to denormalize that within our community using
Yeah.
GoFundMe, fish fries, or selling T-shirts just to take care of our family.
Yeah.
Understand this: every time somebody dies in a rich or wealthy person's family, they get richer.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, did you hear? Uncle Paulie died. Oh man, I'm sorry that he died, but he's a good guy. He left us $5 million. Right? But every time somebody dies in our community, we get poorer because now we're scrambling. Hey, can you put in $1,000 to help pay for the casket? Can you help pay for this? Can you help pay for that? Or what have you. So we actually hurt our families when we lose that person, right? And they don't have that protection in place.
Absolutely. So what would you say is the biggest myth about wealth building that most people, stop believing,
Well,
need to stop believing?
I would say the first thing, most of us, since we were brought up in a world of, hey, you need to get an education, work to pay bills. Many of us don't think that we could be wealthy, first of all. All right, so we have to change that mindset that you could be wealthy, I could be wealthy, they could be wealthy too, right? And like I said before, where you put your money matters. So saving just to save, right? Oh yeah, I put money away or I put money under the mattress, that's not really helping you get to your goal. Your money needs to be your employee. It needs to be working for you, right? So let's look at it like this. I'm gonna say it in a simple way. If inflation grows at 4%, right, a year, the cost of your t-shirts, right, the cost of equipment, whatever it may be, goes up at about 4% yearly. If you put your money in any account that's earning less than 4%, you're actually losing money over time, right? So where you put your money at matters, right? And so with that, a lot of us were told, hey, don't talk to nobody about your money, right? Well, wouldn't it make sense to talk to somebody about your money? Don't you talk to a doctor when you're having ailments, right? Don't you talk to a mechanic when your car is in trouble? Well, when you're having financial trouble, wouldn't it make more sense to talk to a financial professional like yourself, like myself, right? And so that way we can help you with those, your financial issues and help you get to your financial goals.
Absolutely. Do me a favor. This is, the area that I love the most. Can you explain the rule of 72? Once I understood that, I'm like, oh my goodness, it made so much sense. Listen carefully.
The rule of 72. It's a very simple mathematical equation. Goes back a long time. Right? But the way to simplify this is to think like the rich and the wealthy. Whenever they put their money on the table, whenever they invest, there's only one thing they want to know: how quickly can I double my money? Right? And the rule of 72 helps us explain that. Right? So what the rule of 72 says is that no matter what kind of account, wherever you have your money at, if you take the interest rate that you're earning in each one of your accounts, right, and divide it into 72, it'll tell you how many years it'll take for your money to double. So if you put your money into an account with 4% interest, right, divided into 72, that tells us that your money will take 18 years to double. But what if you put it in an account with 8% interest, right? It'll double every 9 years, right? At 10%, it doubles every 7.2 years. Right? This is a huge difference. That could be a difference of over $280,000 over the same time.
Yeah.
All right. So what we want to do is find a place with the highest interest possible so your money can work for you.
Absolutely, I love it. I love it. I don't know why I get excited when I hear that, because there are so many products out there like that.
Right.
You know, it's just a matter of speaking to the correct financial advisor to help you understand where you can put your money. So I appreciate that so much. Now, what would you say, why is having an emergency fund crucial?
Well, I mean, we could just take a short look back to the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right? And unfortunately, we never thought, never in the lifestyle of money, whatever, that we would have a pandemic where it would completely shut down the world.
Wow.
Right? We saw businesses go under. Right? Your favorite restaurants didn't open back up. People lost their jobs, their livelihoods. So many people lost their homes. In California, the homeless rate went up so much tremendously, right? Because they didn't have an emergency fund. Right? Understand this: life is an emergency. It's not a matter of if something will happen. It's just a matter of when. Right? And we don't know the when, or we don't know how severe it will be. But we want to have something in place so that way, when that emergency hits, right, we can take care of our life. Right? And that should be to the tune of 3 to 6 months worth of your bill money, right, up to a year if you can. Right? Because again, we just don't know. And that emergency doesn't have to be a pandemic. It could be a car accident.
Yeah.
Right? It could be a loved one having a stroke or something else happening, you know, that takes away your livelihood. What is life going to be like for you then? More importantly, what is life going to be like for your children if something happens to you?
Now, all of this we spoke on, will we be able to find this in your book?
Yes, definitely. With the 5 bricks of generational wealth, it speaks to the heart of the problem of moving forward the next generation.
Yeah.
So as we think about those old families like the Rockefellers, the Kennedys, the Onassas, right, even Walt Disney, he used money from his life insurance to build Disney World. Right? Some people say, oh, let life insurance be life insurance and not an investment tool. But the rich and the wealthy have been using this to leverage money forever. Right? Why? Because they don't like to pay taxes.
Yep.
Right? And in life insurance, there's no limit to how much money you can put away in life insurance. You can put millions and millions of dollars in there and never pay any taxes on the growth of your money.
I tell you.
It's not about how much money you make, it's about how much you keep.
And we always wanted to know how they did it, how they're able to, you know, live this lifestyle, you know, have homes here in Florida and homes there in, you know, New Jersey or what have you. And this is how they do it.
Yes, definitely. Right? And it starts with an old strategy, right? Called private family banking or infinite banking. Right? This is where they're combining the strategies of using a cash value or a whole life insurance policy along with the trust, right, to ensure that their family's financial future is carried out when they're no longer here on earth. Right? Another little strategy, just as with their children, you hear about trust funds, right?
Yeah.
We hear about it, but we never really know about it, what it is, or where do we even go to go get a trust fund set up, right? So in the rich and wealthy family, what they may do is they'll set up 3 life insurance policies for that child from the day they get a Social Security. So from 15 days old, they'll have 3 life insurance policies. Why do they need 3 life insurance policies? They don't live just new to the world, they don't have anything. But check this. 1 life insurance policy, they're building wealth towards that child's retirement. The 2nd life insurance policy, they're building wealth so that way the child could buy a home or start a business when they're in their 20s or 30s.
Yeah.
The 3rd policy, since they're the owner of it, they use it to take their family on vacation every year. Right? Think about it. We sitting here struggling like, yo, how you going on a cruise
Every year.
And they're pulling money out of their life insurance policy, right, to do this. So it's a big financial strategy that hasn't been taught to us that we need to share this information with.
Absolutely. So, speaking on sharing, we can get all of this information in your book. How can we get your book?
Right. So I sent you a link that you will be able to share with everyone.
Absolutely.
You know, through my stand store, they'll be able to go ahead and purchase a stand store with B.R.I.C.K. And they'll be able to purchase the book and have a digital download, so that way they can read at their leisure, you know, a flip book if they like, or an ebook to listen to it as they're on the road. They'll be able to purchase it there at the discounted price for you. It is at $7.99, so they'll be able to purchase the book.
You hear that? You go to the stand store and it's under Miss K, and you'll be able to get that discount. I love it. So in closing, is there anything else you want the people to know?
Just as they're taking a look at their money and their life, right? The day that we need to start planning for our future is the first day we get our paycheck, right? From that very first paycheck. Can we put away $50, $100, $500, you know, a month, whatever it may be, and start planning? So I go over 4 key questions with my clients, right? Question number 1, how much interest are you earning in all of your accounts? Can we make sure that it's performing the best way? How much of your portfolio is in the market and at risk of losing money when the market drops? How much of it is taxable versus tax-free? Because there's no law to say that you have to pay a lot of tax. You just have to pay your fair share, right? So, and then 4, do you have adequate protection? Right? God forbid should something happen. These emergencies are going to come. Life is going to happen. Right? Are you prepared? Or are you just going to take a chance and wing it and just see what happens? And then turn around and leave the financial burden on your family members or your friends to pick up the pieces.
I tell you. Now, one other thing. Are you accepting new clients?
Yes. I'm always looking for new clients. I also sent you a link to my calendar that you can share with the clients, and they could go ahead and purchase, even if you don't want to be a client, if you just have a question.
Right.
But I tell people knowledge is free, but not knowing is costly.
Yes.
Right? So if you just have questions, we could go through and take you on that tour of the financial GPS. Where are you right now to where you want to be, and what do we need to do to help get you there? Right? So that way, when you're ready to start your journey, at least you have the information to get started.
You heard it here, folks, on the She Be Everywhere show. You are going to be able to connect with my brother, Mr. Tracey, for the 5 bricks.
5 bricks.
I'm going to get it. The 5 bricks of generational wealth.
Yes.
And, you know, so much knowledge, so much information. Make sure you tap in. I'm going to have all the links for you right here in the bottom of the screen. Make sure you tap in. I'm going to have all the links here for you to connect with my brother, get the book, get the discounts. You already know.
Is for where you want them to aspire to in life, right? So the only way they get that money is if, let's say, you could say they have 1 or 2 degrees, they have no felonies, no children out of wedlock, they maintain a 700 credit score, whatever it may be, something for them to strive to.
Yeah.
And then they get the lump sum of money. And if they don't, then you can say, okay, I'm going to give it to the church or my favorite charity.
Wow. I've never heard of it done that way, but it makes sense. And, you know, this is something we need to think about.
So that's why when I talk to my clients, I tell them anytime you talk to a financial professional and they just talk to you about product, get up and walk away. Right? You want a financial professional that's going to talk to you about strategy. How can you use this particular product as a strategy with its benefits to help you get to all of your financial goals instead of just buying a product that's going to give that agent commission?
Exactly. I appreciate that. Again, thank you for stopping by, my brother.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, my pleasure. And again, make sure you like and subscribe to the She Be Everywhere show on YouTube. Follow your girl. Okay. What would you say is the biggest difference between a 401k and the IUL?
Well, with the 401k, it's directed through your job, right? So it has certain limitations on how much you could contribute into it, right? And it has an employer match, right? So with your 401k, I'll just say first, if you have one, you want to put in up into the match and no difference, right? But the 401k is a qualified plan, meaning that you signed up for Uncle Sam to be able to take away however much money in taxes he wants to be able to take in. So right now that tax is approximately 30%.
Ooh.
All right. So if you saved up $100,000 in your 401k, you're going to have to give away approximately $30,000 in taxes. That's a lot of money to
Yes,
have to
it
give away,
is.
right? But the difference with the IUL, the Index Universal Life, is that the money that you pay into the policy, right, is going to continue to earn interest for the rest of your life,
Yep.
right, at a rate of about 8 to 12% interest. Then from there, you could pull money out of it at any time for any reason. Unlike the 401k, where they question you, what are you using
Yeah.
it for? You go, if you want to buy a house, buy a car, go on vacation, pay for your kids' weddings, start a business, whatever you want to do, you go pull money out of the IUL at any time, completely 100% tax free. So
Oh
you
my
get to
goodness.
keep all of your money. Plus, God forbid, when that time comes, you pass away, if your money's in a 401k and you leave it to your family, well, now the family has to pay taxes again with another approximately about 50%. Right? So they're going to get even less than what you have saved.
Yeah.
But had you had that same dollar amount inside the life insurance policy, your family is not only is going to get that dollar amount, but they're also going to get the amount of the death benefit that your dollar amount leveraged for them. All right, so you may have saved $100,000, but in reality, your family's going to get $500,000 to $1 million by having it in a life insurance product. And here, the biggest thing is living benefits. As I mentioned before, with the living benefits, that's going to help take care of your life in a major medical
Yeah.
emergency. Whereas with the 401k, if you have a major medical emergency, you're going to have to deplete your funds.
Yeah.
Right? So definitely recommend having the life insurance as part of your financial portfolio, right, to minimize your losses when the market drops, as well as taxes, so that way you keep more of your money.
I tell you, it seems so simple, you know, and you would think everyone would want to jump on board with this,
Yeah.
but we don't,
Well,
because we weren't taught. We're not educated to it. We're very ignorant to the facts.
they say, my people perish for the lack of knowledge. Right? So that's why we're here today, and I appreciate you and everything that you're doing. She be
Absolutely.
everywhere, putting it out there. So
I
thank you.
appreciate you. Thank you so much. But absolutely, because I believe in it. You know, we did this during the pandemic, because I couldn't be everywhere. I couldn't be, should be everywhere. We were locked down.
Right.
So this was the opportunity to educate our people. And so many people came on board. And I want you to come on board. And you need to know more. And if you want to know more, get in contact with my brother, Mr.
Yes.
Tracey. So one last thing, I can't leave this out. If someone is thinking about, wills and trusts, what would you say is a mistake that they make about
Well,
them?
I wouldn't really say so much a mistake that they make, but they just don't know the major differences between them. And many of our people feel like they just don't need one. Oh, well, I don't really have anything. I don't have anything to leave, so I don't really need a will. But in fact, that everybody over the age of 18, right, they have their own estate and they need their own will. Right, to have that power of attorney that say, whether it's medical or financial, in the event of an emergency. So if the doctor says, hey, who gives us permission to operate on this individual? Could be your son, but he's over to 18, right? You now have to, if you don't have a will, you now have to scramble, find a social worker, somebody in the hospital that could sign off some paper to say that you now have say over your own child's life.
Wow.
Well, those precious minutes that you're scrambling trying to put something in place could be the difference between life and death for your child.
Yeah.
Right? So it's better to have one up front. So when you think about a will, put it this way. You will have to go to court. You will have to pay probate, court costs, legal fees. Your family will have to struggle, right? And whatever you leave for your family is contestable, right? Meaning that if, let's say I left something for you, well, your cousin, whoever could come and say, hey, no, I should get that. So now I'm going to take you to court for it. And the person that's going to win is the person that has enough money to pay the lawyers the longest. But in reality, everybody loses because we're giving away money out of the family, right, instead of keeping it there. With the trust, you can trust that your wishes will be done and carried out after you're no longer here on the earth.
Love
Let's say
that.
you own a property. You could say, I don't want this property sold for the next 50 years, right? You could use the trust as the management system, right, for your family bank, right, the infinite banking or the private family banking concept, as well as think about this. Let's say you have a young child and She Be Everywhere blows up. You got this, multi-million-dollar estate that you're going to leave them. Do you want to leave all of your assets to a family member or whoever one time to take care of that child? Or would you rather the guardian get, let's say, $1,000 a month until they turn 18? Then your child gets $1,000 a month after they turn 18, and they'll get the lump sum once you feel that they're mentally, financially mature enough, age 25, 30. But here's the kicker. You could set up stipulations for where you want them to aspire to in life, right? So the only way they get that money is if, let's say, you could say they have 1 or 2 degrees, they have no felonies, no children out of wedlock, they maintain a 700 credit score, whatever it may be, something for them to strive to,
Yeah.
and then they get the lump sum of the money. And if they don't, then you can say, okay, I'm going to give it to the church or my favorite charity.
Wow. I've never heard of it done that way, but it makes sense. And, this is something we need to think about.
Right. So that's why when I talk to my clients, I tell them anytime you talk to a financial professional and they just talk to you about product, get up and walk away. All right. You want a financial professional that's going to talk to you about strategy. How can you use this particular product as a strategy with its benefits to help you get to all of your financial goals instead of just buying a product that's going to give that agent commission?
Exactly. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Again, thank you for stopping by, my brother.
Thank you for having me.
Of
I really
course,
appreciate
my
it.
pleasure. And again, make sure you like and subscribe to the She Be Everywhere show on YouTube.
Yes.
Follow your girl.